Hi, Storytime friends. Today we are going to share the story, The True Story of the Three Little Pigs by A. Wolfe, as told to Jon Scieszka. Now I know you guys are familiar with the traditional fairy tale, The Three Little Pigs, and some would say it's a little bit biased against the wolf. So this story is going to be from the wolf's point of view. And when we're finished with the story, I want you to think about whose version do you think is the truth? Everybody knows the story of the Three Little Pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody has ever heard my side of the story. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolfe. You can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you were big and bad too. But like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. This is the real story. Way back in Once Upon a Time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold and I ran out of sugar. So I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now, this neighbor was a pig and he wasn't too bright either. He had built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in his right mind would build a house of straw? So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into someone else's house, so I called, Little Pig, are you in? No answer. I was just about to go home without the cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. That's when my nose started to itch. I started to feel a sneeze coming on while I huffed and I snuffed and achoo! And I sneezed a great big sneeze. And you know what? The whole darn straw house fell down, and right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig. Dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. It seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying there, so I ate it up. Think of it as a big cheeseburger just laying there. I was feeling a little bit better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar, so I went to the next neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not by much. He had built his house out of sticks. I rang the doorbell on the stick house. Nobody answered. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? He yelled back, go away, wolf, you can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin chin. I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great big sneeze, achoo! And you're not gonna believe it, but this guy's house fell down just like his brother's. When the dust cleared, there was the second little pig, dead as a doornail, wolf's honor. Now you know how food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open? So I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling a little bit better, and I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. So I went to the next house. This guy was the first and second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family because he had built his house out of bricks. I knocked on the brick house, no answer. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? And do you know what that little rude porker answered? Get out of here, wolf, don't bother me again. Talk about impolite. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar, and he wouldn't give me even one little cup for my dear, sweet old granny's birthday cake. What a pig. I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt my cold coming on. So I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed once again, achoo! And the little pig yelled, and your old granny can sit on a pin. Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. When the cops drove up, of course, I was trying to break down the pig's door. And the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a really big scene. The rest, as they say, is history. The news reporters found out about the 2 pigs I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going around trying to borrow a cup of sugar wasn't very exciting. So they jazzed the whole story up with all that huff and puff and blow your house down, and they made me into the big bad wolf. That's it, the real story. I was framed. And maybe you can loan me a cup of sugar? So, who do you think is telling the truth? Do you think our wolf is telling the truth, or the traditional version is more truthful? I'm not sure. I want you to think about it, okay? So how about we do the this little piggy rhyme to keep with our wolf pig theme, okay? So if you want to, you can hold up all the fingers on one hand. We're gonna say, this little piggy went to the market, this little piggy stayed home, this little piggy had roast beef, and this little piggy had none. And this little piggy went wee, 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 all the way home. Thank you so much for joining me, friends, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.